Hello there, this is Divine TV. My name is Kemi Iwalesin, your host on this amazing program, She World, where we discuss everything about the female gender. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the very beautiful. I have a guest here today. I call her MI. She's going to introduce herself. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. My name is Temitope Akinyemi. I'm a wife, a mother, a business person, a pharmacist, an author, a writer, and so much more. I'm a woman of many parts. But it's such a delight to be here with you today. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to be here.
And I'm sure you know that I brought the right person for this topic. A lot of people have been saying all marriages are being managed. There are no great marriages, there are no good marriages. Everybody is just managing it. I believe there are good marriages and I believe there are bad marriages. But I'm going to ask you, are there any perfect marriage anywhere?
Well, when we're talking about marriage, marriage is an institution, yeah, of people. So I think I would answer your question with a question by saying, are there perfect people? Yeah, and then if we say, are there perfect people, then you know from the get-go that getting married, two people getting married is a union of two flawed, imperfect people. So, that answers the question of saying, is there any perfect marriage? We're all work in progress. We're not where we were, I believe, and we're not where we really want to be. So we're work in progress, so to say. So in that context, there's no perfect marriage because there's no perfect person yet. So that's pretty much the answer to that question.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Then what makes one marriage better than the other?
That question, I would like to answer it with another, with another question, if you permit me. I think the idea of comparison is a setup. I usually like to say that whenever you find yourself in a place where you are comparing what you have with what another person has, you already place yourself at a disadvantage, okay? Every union has a purpose. Before I talk about, scratch that. Before I talk about any union, everybody has a purpose they have come to this earth to achieve. So when two people decide to spend the rest of their lives together, they are saying, yeah, we can see a connection between what you have and what I have, what we're both bringing to the table. And I think we can work together for a lifetime. That's what marriage is really all about. So when two people come together, they are saying we connect, we click, there's a common point. There's something that we're both working towards that I think would make sense. That's why two people want to come together. It's not because we want to come together so that we can be better than Mr. A and B. That's not the point. So really, to say that one marriage is better than the other is totally incorrect. I don't want to use absolute words like incorrect, but it's not proper to say that, yeah? Because every single person is uniquely crafted and created by God to fulfill an assignment. So for someone to say, okay, I want to connect with somebody else to be able to have something really beautiful on the surface of the earth. So that means that every union has the capacity to make amazing things happen, in their different spheres of influence or wherever they are. So two unions are unique. Every union is unique. So to say one is better than the other, it's not really the point. It's to look at my union and say, what can I make happen? Why did we come together? Are we still on track? Blah, blah, blah. And really, that's really the idea.
Thank you. I like that because we compare a lot.
Yes, we do.
I want to be like the Joneses.
Yes.
Mr. A is doing this to his wife. Mrs. B is doing this to the husband. And a lot of times we forget our own marriage.
Yes.
We move on and begin to look at other people's marriage instead of working on that particular thing we have to make it better. Do great marriages have challenges?
Okay. It's seeming to be like my like my model to answer every question with first bringing it to the person. Because at the end of the day, when we personalize, when we see everything from a personal point of view, then we give ourselves permission to be able to enjoy the growth process that is involved. Yeah? So, to say that, do I have challenges as an individual? Oh, yes, I do have challenges. Does my spouse have challenges? He does have challenges. So our coming together, trying to, for example, in the process of achieving maximum productivity, when you come together, first of all, there's what you call storming. Yeah, you're coming from, maybe I was brought up in the village, or and my spouse was brought up from the abroad. And we come together, and I'm just saying, this village, you saying this village woman, I'm saying you are tutush. So we're coming together to try and forge something really. So we're going to have challenges, storming, coming together. We're going to storm. Then after some time, we're going to norm. Then we can now begin to perform when we have come together. Yeah. So to say that the great marriages have challenges, yes, great marriages have challenges. Every marriage has challenges. What separates one marriage from the other is the approach, the decision, the commitment of both parties involved to ensure that no challenge that they undergo swallows them, as it were. So, I mean, everyone undergoes challenges. Every great marriage, every struggling marriage is really, at the end of the day, is how we're able to wade through the challenges that makes us either still staying there or, I mean, we opt out.
Okay. So challenges are just
They're part of
natural
life.
things that we should
Sure
expect.
as sparks fly in the sky. It's scripture. It's what it is. We must go through challenges.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's how we maneuver the challenges
Yes.
that determines the course of the marriage
Absolutely.
eventually.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is love enough in a marriage?
Oh, deep go. You know, it's like I mentioned earlier, I've been counseling people on marriage for getting close to about 2 decades now. And I realized that, I mean, sometimes I just see like the switch. Some people, when they wanted to get married, they could not keep their hands off each other. You know, the love was just everywhere. And then 1 year, 2 years down the line, they literally cannot stand each other. And you wonder, what in God's name happened? You can't connect. And that just makes you know that, yeah, love is not enough. Love is never sufficient. Yeah? And let me just say this, talking about love. Even love itself is characterized by a series of consistent actions that show that I consider this other person as well. So love is not a feeling. Love is about making decisions. Yeah? So in that context, we can say that love is enough. But in this context, you know that we all know that we know what we are saying when we are talking about love. It's not enough. Okay? We need to talk about communication. We need to talk about compromises. I mean, whether it sounds 21st century or not, we need to make decisions that don't exactly, it's not what I feel like doing, but for this purpose of my union or purpose of my partner, yeah, it's not going to hurt me, so let me just make this compromise. So it's a series of decisions one makes that would eventually make the marriage work. And of course, communication as you go. Communication.
Communication and compromise.
Yes.
It shouldn't be my way or the highway.
You don't know.
Because for some, it's either my way or the highway. And obviously, we won't get any great marriage from that. Definitely.
It doesn't go well.
We won't get that from there. Another question I want to ask is, are there sacrifices on a woman's part to make a great marriage? We'll go on a short break now. And when we come back, she's going to answer that question.
Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ.
You're welcome back. We are still on She World, where we discuss everything about the female gender, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the very beautiful. So my question once again, are there sacrifices on a woman's part to make a great marriage?
I'm really wondering why it's only the woman that is to make sacrifices. Does it sound fair? I don't think so.
No, why I ask that is
Okay.
because this is a woman's program.
Okay.
So most likely it's women. I know men have to do their own sacrifice, but I'm saying on a woman's part. So I want to know what is our own. that we need to make a
Okay.
great marriage?
Yeah, sure. So sure. I mean, women need to make sacrifices within a marriage. And while I would like to give a direct answer to that question, there's really no direct answer to that question. Why do I say that? Because every marriage is unique. Every marriage is different. And the kind of sacrifices, for example, that a business executive woman would make is different from the kind of sacrifices that a home giver or a, what do they call women that stay at home moms and all of that. The kind of sacrifices that people need to make differ based on the current setting of their marriage. Sometimes it depends on the phase in which their marriage is as well, would determine the kind of sacrifices that they need to make. The ages of their children, maybe the kind of work that their spouse does. I mean, so it's different for different kinds of marriage settings. And I think we'll become liberated from a lot of things that we get held, by when we look at our marriages on its own merit. I won't say, oh, because XYZ woman who is a stay-at-home mom is making this sacrifice, then my wife needs to make the same sacrifice. It doesn't connect. I mean, it's different. It's a different setting. I'm in a different field of work. She's in a different field of work. My children are probably teenagers. Her children are maybe 5 toddlers and all of that. So the stage of life and all of those different factors will determine what kinds of sacrifices the woman will need to make. Yeah, so I mean, when my children were younger, there was the kind of work, I could do. Yeah, so as my children grew, there were some additional things I could take on. There were trips I could make and all those kind of things as a woman. So, I mean, those things determine, what I can do, what I can stay back, from doing and those kind of things.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Men have their own sacrifices too,
Absolutely.
because this is a union of two people, and they must be in synergy for it to work.
Absolutely.
So whereas they sacrifice, I know women too have to.
Yes.
And not, that woman is a bank manager, so she doesn't stay at home to work. She has litany of help. I need litany of help too, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom. So that goes back to comparison.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you have sacrificed for a great marriage, what are your expectations from your spouse? We are talking about great marriage now. We're not talking of anything that is not good.
I would like to kind of shed a little light on the question that you shared. When you say that when you have sacrificed, for your marriage, what are your expectations? It kind of connotes that you have finished sacrificing. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a going concern. Okay. I mean, we are at this thing for life. Yeah, all things being equal. Yeah, so it's a going concern, and I think a very important part of this question that you have asked that ensures that I don't finish my sacrifice before I now begin to expect is to ensure that we are both communicating as we go. I think that's what happens most times. People just stay under the burden of, let me just be doing this or be doing this, and they do it for decades. And after some time, they just erupt. They've been sacrificing over the years, and their spouse has not been sacrificing. They've been wishing, I wish my spouse could do this, but they're not communicating their expectations. They're not doing all of that. And time comes and, the wife just gets up and walks out of the marriage. And the husband is genuinely shocked and wondering what happened, And the husband is probably not a mind reader. And
Nobody is.
Yeah. So I think it's a going concern. That's all I'm saying. And that's to say that as we go, we must be communicating what we expect with each other. I mean, it's a going concern. So if I'm expecting this and I'm not getting it, I'm not going to wait till 2 years, 5 years, when the thing would have piled up and become really something big before I voice it out. So that comes to communication again as well. Okay, I won't keep my expectation to myself. I shouldn't do that. Yeah. So if I have expectations, we should talk about it. And if the expectations don't connect, we talk about it until we reach, a middle point. So it's that's really the way I would like to answer the question, to say that it's communication as we go, so that the expectations are clearly spelled out. We can meet each other in the middle and be going until really,
Until
until the end of our lives. Technically.
That is true. So we can say communication is the bedrock.
Absolutely.
Of a great marriage.
Yes.
Why do we find it difficult to communicate? Because I know that's a challenge. That's a challenge in a lot of marriages.
It's a big challenge. I'd like to borrow a leaf from, you know this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that talks about the maturity continuum. There are a lot of people in marriage that are not mature though. Yeah. Because the truth is, I mean, if I look at my 2-year-old, my 5-year-old, and I speak to him or her in a certain way, she'll feel hurt, yeah? But an adult is more likely to take it more graciously. Now, what am I saying? I'm trying to say that if a person is not mature and they're in a marriage and there's an issue between husband and wife, and the wife, for example, says, this thing, I don't like how it's going, let's talk. Do you know that some men cannot, they feel that, how will my wife be calling me that we should be talking about an EU? No, they will go out with the boys. Yeah? So what happens is there's an insecurity lurking somewhere. There's a level of immaturity lurking somewhere. Because, I mean, if you really see the marriage as what it is and the fact that you want to be able to take your relationship somewhere, you're going somewhere, then any issue that comes up, man, let's sit down and thrash this thing. I'm not going to walk away. I mean, so if I walk away, it's trying to say that I don't really want to take responsibility. So I mean, I don't want to take responsibility. Let me just leave this issue, go. And then after some time, I'll come back and say, babe, how far? So I'm leaving the main issue. I'm getting what I want. I'm not treating the issues. What do I expect will happen? So, I mean, so it's a mix of a number of things. And there's insecurity in there. There's not wanting to take responsibility, which in my own opinion is looking like immaturity and all those kind of things. So many times when people don't want to sit down and face issues, solve problems, is one of the things that I'm currently teaching my teenage children now. When they come to me with an issue, I'll say, think about it. I tell them problem solving is your ticket to growth. Once you can solve problems, you move to the next level. Life will promote you when you are solving problems as you go. So we must imbibe the culture, even as parents, to begin to teach our children, don't run away from problems. Face it, solve it. So those people always ran away from problems. That's what it seemed while they were growing up. So when they enter marriage and they have to face issues headlong, they run away. And what happens is what we see, for the most part. Yeah.
One thing I've learned from what you have said now is it goes back home.
Oh, yes.
To parenting.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of us, this is not my topic for today, we're not brought up to think. We're not brought up to have opinion. We are forced to do what mommy said you do or daddy says you should do. And unfortunately, we have broken adults.
Yes.
And we believe because we are matured in age, we need to get married.
Biological clock.
Yes. So when you get married now, you're unable to handle anything in the home.
Yes.
It comes from both the woman
and the man. Yes.
And we have broken marriages.
Yes.
And we say, keep on patching it. So parenting is very, very important in this. We are going to discuss that. I'm sure you've been enjoying this. We'll go on a short break now. Stay with me.
Enjoy inspirational, informative, and soul-lifting Christian programs such as Christian Parenting and Homefront, Light After Darkness, Fulfilling the Mandate, Kids and Bible, Movies Review, Shepherd's Spouse, Kingdom Stars, Teens Perspectives, My Next Gospel Event, and lots more on Divine Television. Download Divine TV mobile app on Google Play Store or watch on our YouTube channel. You can also visit www.tvdivine.net. Divine TV, enriching souls through the gospel of Christ.
You're welcome back. I was going to ask a question before we went on that break.
Okay.
Can a woman alone make a marriage great? Is it possible? I seem to have to don't know what you are going to say, but let me ask for the sake of our audience.
What did you call it? You said marriage. The marriage is a union of two people. in my opinion, a man and a woman. You get why I'm using that. Yeah, so, and what is required to really make a marriage work is two people willing to make it work. So a woman alone is not enough. The least that the husband needs to have is the willingness. That's enough, in my opinion. I mean, I still met with a couple 2-3 days ago, and I told them before we started, I said, this is great. You both are here because there's a willingness to make this work. So if one person is doing, you know, all of the work and all, and the other person has at least the willingness to make it work, that's fine. Otherwise, if there's no willingness at all from the other person, there's no marriage.
Waste of time.
There's no marriage.
Yes, I agree with you. Because one other thing I've noticed in marriages is when there is a challenge, I'll use infertility as an example. When there's that challenge, it's only the woman most times that goes out to churches, to the hospital, to the mountains, everywhere. And 10 years down the line, you will realize it was the man that had the problem. So if the two people are not in synergy, there's no way it can work.
Yes, it can't.
There's an adage that says a tree does not make a forest.
Absolutely.
One person cannot make a marriage work. That's just basic.
Yes.
There's nothing else we can say about that. I will go back to the parenting thing. If we have missed it, like I told you, we deal with everybody, the old, the young, as long as you're a female.
Okay.
So there are some other people who are younger who are not in it yet,
Okay.
or who are in it, they don't even know what to do. Like communication. I wasn't brought up to speak to my husband to just go and call him, sweetheart, we need to discuss this thing. I was brought up to obey the last order. And things are not working. So we need to know that, okay, I can actually go and meet this person, let's discuss. If both of us are having challenges in getting ourselves to discuss, because one thing they normally tell us when we want to get married is, don't allow a third party. Do you even believe in that? Does it make sense?
I think it depends. Because
Okay.
in my marriage, I've been married 19 years.
Okay.
I've never invited a third party.
Okay.
We've never invited a third party to our marriage.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely, I agree. I mean, but then it depends on the people involved. Their maturity level makes all the difference. You know, it's just like I have a 2-year-old. I'm trying to get to be potty trained, and we're still struggling on the matter. So we're still helping him. So some people need that help. Not everybody has that maturity to be able to face their issues. You have an idea of some of the issues that we've had in business and all of that. Massive, crazy issues that we've had. But I mean, we've stood through it all and all. But it takes a level of maturity to be able to sit through. And it's not judging anyone to say, you should be able to. And I think I get what you're trying to say. You know, we judge people when they take their matter. They have tried based on their level of maturity and their knowledge and what they know. They have really honestly tried, you know, to see if they can work it out, and it's not working, and they want to be able to meet somebody to get some help. There's nothing wrong with getting help. So yeah, so while I would not say at every issue run and go and invite somebody in, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying after having tried for some time, if you honestly both see that you need help, please get help. I mean, there's no, even this one I'm talking about, we have couple retreats where we have time with other couples, where you see what's going on. You can pick things from different people. The fact that you are mature doesn't mean that you have reached the peak of El Shaddai. We're all still growing and learning. I mean, there are things you pick from other people. So yeah, so that's how I would like to say that.
Okay.
Third party is not bad, but it really depends.
Third party is not bad. I agree with you. But who should we choose as that third party? That's a major question.
Okay, yes, in this part of the world, where we prioritize labels, offices above relationships, the average person will say, go to your pastor. Go to your, I pastor, by the way. So, but I don't have the same level of relationship with everybody that I'm privileged to work with, yeah? So if they don't bring their matter to me, honestly, I'm not going to take it personal, yeah? So it's important that at least both of you have a level of relationship and difference to the person who you choose to take your matter to. That's important, okay? So it's not about labels. So I won't give a straight answer to your question. To say that it's important. Two things are important: the relationship you have with that person, both of you, at least to some degree, and then level of deference and accountability that you have to that person, such that whatever the person shares, you can get knowledge from it and then go back, work it out, and see what comes out from there.
That deference is very important in marriage. If you are married to somebody that has nobody that can caution him or
Call
her,
them to order.
there's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem. In Yoruba adage, we says, "Abere to lokundi." A needle that has a thread.
Attached to it.
Because without the thread, you can't trace it if it misses. So one thing we need to do is there must be that particular person. Maybe the person's pastor, maybe the person's parents. It can be even a friend.
Yes, it can be, yeah.
Some friends have so much influence on people that I will tell you, don't ever go to that my friend and discuss this with him. Because you know that person is going to sit him or her down and tell the truth. So that must be there.
Yeah.
Because one thing about don't discuss with third party. I had a person that almost died in her marriage because she was told, don't discuss this with anybody. And the day I heard all the things that had happened, oh my goodness, I almost collapsed. Because I was one of the people that told her, hold your home, don't discuss with anybody. And it was at the point of death that she was able to be rescued. Because immediately she went all about the domestic violence, her hand is not working, her back is this. I said, this is death. So I personally learned from that experience that third party is actually not bad.
No, it's not.
When it is necessary.
Yes, yeah.
My last question before we go.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your advice to women, ladies, girls, everybody that wants to have and aspire to have a great marriage? What's your advice to them?
Okay, my advice to them is invest in yourself. I mean, I can't even, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, say it in another way, blah, blah, blah. I know that baby girl want to sit down and be taken care of. Yeah? But honestly, be a person of value. Invest in yourself. Professionally, in business, in every way, be a value-added person, such that when you meet that person, if you are not yet married, you are bringing a lot of value to the table. And even as a married woman, your husband will seek your opinion on matters. You know, some things are not said. Sometimes some men love their wives so much, they don't want to say things against them. But in their minds, they are calculating, this woman, she can't give advice on this thing I want to do. So I'm not going to talk to her about it. So those things are making, they are making a difference in your spouses. So in other words, I mean, as a lady, married or unmarried, you need to ensure that you can't be ignored, you can't be put aside, your opinion counts, and that's value. And you don't have to have the highest level of education to be able to do that. So once you have that, I mean, you own your own and you can bring a lot of value to the table and have a great marriage, have a great life, and add value as well.
Wow. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're a great guest. And I'm sure there was no mistake bringing you.
I believe so.
Because we got value.
Thank you.
One thing we have realized today is that there are no perfect marriages. There are great marriages. And one person cannot make marriage to work. If you need a third party, get a third party.
Yes.
And as a woman, you know, we keep saying that. Add value to yourself. Be a woman of value. Be a woman of value. Be a woman nobody can put aside because you have something they are going to give. Thank you very much. This is She World, where we discuss everything about the female gender. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the very beautiful. I remain Kemi Iwalesin, and I hope to see you on the next episode of this show. Thank you. Bye.